Hi friends, welcome back to another Sun, Moon, and Stars lesson. Today is day 3 of week 7. For today's lesson, you will need a pencil, your thinking cap, your listening ears, and your EL student workbook. If you don't have your pencil and your workbook with you, press pause, get your materials together, and press play when you're ready. Now, you won't need that workbook until the very end, so go ahead and set your pencil and your notebook aside. Let's start our lesson by reading a new poem. Today's poem is titled, Where Are They? The Sun, Moon, and Stars poem. Where are they? That's what this poem discusses. I will read the poem first. Then we will read it together in an echo read. And lastly, we'll read it all together in a choral read. Okay, are your listening ears on? Look up in the sky. What do you see? Depending on when the sun, the moon, or star shine brightly. As the sun rises, it appears just above the horizon, beginning to shine its light for everyone. As the sun sets and the day comes to a close, it appears to sink below the horizon. Behind the hill it glows. Nighttime arrives and the moon is up in the sky. Seeming to be on top of buildings and treetops, it is very, very high. Appearing beside the moon in the sky at night, we can see stars twinkling and glowing, shining their light. Okay, now this time we're going to do an echo read. I will read and then you will respond. This will give you some practice with this poem. Are you ready? Look up in the sky. What do you see? Depending on when, the sun, moon, or stars shine brightly. As the sun rises, it appears just above the horizon. Beginning to shine its light for everyone. As the sun sets and the day comes to a close, it appears to sink below the horizon. Behind the hill it glows. Nighttime arrives and the moon is up in the sky. Seeming to be on top of buildings and treetops, it is very, very high. Appearing beside the moon in the sky at night, we can see stars twinkling and glowing, shining their light. Good job! Okay, our last time reading this poem, we are going to read it all together. Remember, we want to be fluent readers. We want to be able to hear the flow of the poem. So try your best to keep up and be a fluent reader. Thumbs up if you're ready. Look up in the sky. What do you see? Depending on when, the sun, moon, or stars shine brightly. As the sun rises, it appears just above the horizon, beginning to shine its light for everyone. As the sun sets and the day comes to a close, it appears to sink below the horizon. Behind the hill it glows. Nighttime arrives and the moon is up in the sky, seeming to be on top of buildings and treetops. It is very, very high. Appearing beside the moon in the sky at night, we can see stars twinkling and glowing, shining their light. Good job, readers! So this was our first time reading this new poem. First you listened, then you practiced, and then you read it with me chorally. We're going to come back to this poem a little bit later in today's lesson. But for now, let's look at today's learning target. Today's learning target says, I can participate in a science talk about what makes day and night on Earth, using information from my notes as evidence. So today, you will be participating in a science talk. Now, usually, we do science talks with our classmates, but today on this video, you and I will be doing a science talk. We'll do the best that we can. Now, what will our science talk be all about? Well, our learning target says it'll be about what makes day and night on Earth. And for us to answer this question of what makes day and night on Earth, we're going to have to use our notes. You may have notes from other lessons, or you might have your EL workbook that's full of information. And I know that your brain is full of knowledge that you've learned throughout this unit. I can't wait for our science talk. In order for us to answer this question, we're going to have to remember all of those things that we've learned about day and night and on Earth. For example, we have already discussed what makes day and night on Earth in this anchor chart. We've used this anchor chart through a few of our lessons. We've learned that half of the Earth is lit by sun. That's what makes day. And that when it's facing the sun, that's daytime. And that the part that's not facing the sun, it's in the shadow or the darkness, and we call that night. Now, that's just a little bit of the information that you've learned. Hopefully, there's a lot more in your noggin and in your EL workbook. We're going to use all of that information to answer this question. What makes day and night on Earth? Can you read this question with me? What makes day and night on Earth? Our learning target said that we're going to answer this question by using a science talk. When we're doing a science talk, we use a specific protocol. Let's look at the protocol that we use. Science talk protocol. We're going to follow these steps so that we can answer this question together. The first step says, face your small group members. Well, I am your small group today, and you're already facing me, so we can go ahead and check that first one off. We are facing each other. Our second one says, listen to the teacher announce the question or the prompt. This is our question today. What makes day and night on Earth? Were you listening to that question? Our next protocol step says, consult your notes or evidence in order to answer the question. You can use any of your notes or workbook pages or previous knowledge to answer this question of what makes day and night on Earth. And lastly, using notes and ideas. Take turns responding using a sentence starter. So you and I are going to take turns discussing this question. And when we're taking turns, we're going to use sentence starters. Sentence starters are sentences that help us start our stream of thinking. For example, I might say, I think she means blank. I'd like to add blank. Or this makes me think blank because blank. These help us really tune in our thinking into our conversation. So, looking at this question, are you ready to do a science talk with me? Okay, reader, are you facing me? Are you looking and listening to the question? Is your brain ready to use all of your notes and knowledge? Okay. So, friend, what makes day and night on Earth? Well, I think that day is created as the Earth rotates and the sun shines, hitting half of the Earth, and that half has day. Can you add on to my thinking about what makes day and night by saying, I'd like to add blank? Start this sentence and add on to my thinking. Good. I've also learned that shadow is what creates night. This makes me think that the part that isn't facing the sun is night because it's in the shadow. What other ideas do you have about this question? You can use a sentence starter, or you can use your own sentence starter. What do you think? Now, all of that information that you've shared with me about what makes day and night on Earth, where did that information come from? Did you make that information up? Okay, so where did it come from? That's right, it's previous learning. It came from your EL workbook, from your notes, from your brain, and that's what you're using to make a science talk conversation with me. I have a challenge for you. At some point today, I'd like for you to discuss what makes day and night on Earth with a grown-up at home. Make sure that you're facing your grown-up, you're listening and reading the question together, you're using your knowledge or your EL workbook, and that you're taking turns talking. Maybe you're even trying to use these sentence starters as you take turns talking about what makes day and night on Earth. Show me a double thumbs up if you can rise to that challenge. Good. Hopefully, you'll be able to have a science talk with someone at home, similar to how you had a science talk with me. Now that we have done our science talk and we've discussed night and day on Earth, let's look at a culminating task so that you can show me what happens on Earth with day and night. For this part, you're going to need your EL workbook. Go ahead and grab your EL workbook and your pencil. Okay, I have my workbook ready. In your workbook, I want you to turn to page 54. Pause the video if you need more time finding page 54. Keep watching if you're already there. Okay, friends, this page is going to be where you create your very own diagram, showing me that you know what makes day and night on Earth. We've already discussed it, but I want you to show it. On this page, you'll see that there's some instructions at the top, and there's a box at the bottom. This is where you will draw your diagram. Nod your head if you understand where your diagram is going to go. Now we will follow the directions to complete the workbook page. Now here's the tricky part. These directions don't quite match what we're going to do today. I have already done this work, and this is the diagram that I have created. You are going to create a similar diagram. Now, in order to do that, we're going to have to mark off something on our workbook page. I'd like for you to get out your pencil and cross out those instructions at the top of your page. That's right, get your pencil and cross them out, because these instructions don't match what we're going to do today. Once you've crossed them out, show me a thumbs up. Okay, I'm going to take my diagram off of the screen so that you can show me your learning and you're not tempted to copy my learning. Now for this exercise, you are going to have to listen very closely. I will give you step-by-step instructions on how to create your diagram. You will draw it in the box. Do you see that this is called independent work? Independent means all by myself. So if you are at home learning, you can do this activity without your grown-up. This will show me and your teacher that you are a good listener that can follow instructions and that you understand what makes day and night on Earth. If you get stuck, just pause the video and ask an adult to help you go back to watch it again. Okay, friends, I am going to take my face off so that you can really focus on your work. Put your eyes on the circle at the bottom of your workbook page. Label that circle with the word Earth. I'll say the first step again. Label the circle with the word Earth. Now, beside Earth, draw another circle. This is the sun. Label it Sun. I'll read step 2 again. Draw a circle beside Earth. Label the circle Sun. Draw the sun's rays shining towards half of the Earth. Draw the sun's rays shining towards half of the Earth. If you would like to, you can color your sun and your rays yellow. Number 4. Shade 1/2 of the Earth black to show nighttime. Leave the other half bright to show daytime. You can color it yellow if you'd like. I'll read number 4 again. Shade one half of the earth black to show nighttime, and leave the other half bright to show daytime. You can color it yellow if you'd like. Remember, the part that is yellow or bright should be the part that's facing the sun. Now, label each side of the earth with the words day and night. Label each side of the earth with day and night. This is the end of your culminating task. You have now created a diagram. If you'd like to review the steps to make sure it's just right, rewind the video, then play again, checking your work. Okay, so now you have followed all of the steps in order to create your diagram. Like I said, if you need to, you can always pause and rewind to see what you missed or to listen again. Make sure that you try to do this independently and you really listen to the instructions. You've done a wonderful job participating in a science talk and engaging in creating your very own diagram to show what makes day and night on Earth. I definitely think that you've met that learning target. I'll see you next time. Bye, friends.